Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Living Divinely. I feel really divine today. It's like I got my spring florals on. The weather is beautiful here in California. Let me address something real quick because it's been bothering me. This has been on my heart for a minute, and I just want to address this. So, I live in California, specifically the Bay Area. I am literally 45 minutes from Napa Valley. So when y'all do y'all little girls trips and y'all go to Napa and y'all don't tell me ahead of time and I see y'all frolicking in Napa and we can get together and have a drink or have a cup of coffee, that bothers me. Tell me when y'all are coming to the Bay so I know. And we can get together and we can connect. I see so many of my mutuals online visiting San Francisco, visiting Oakland, visiting Napa. I just want y'all to tell me ahead of time so we can plan for something and we can meet each other in person because I'm tired of missing y'all and not planning into this so we can make it happen. I rest my case. Let's get into today's episode. So, I have been enjoying something a little too much on TikTok lately. And it is the fact that everybody is revisiting being Mary Jane or watching it for the very first time. And I literally remember exactly where I was and exactly what I was doing when the Being Mary Jane pilot premiered. I was in a hotel in Miami getting ready to go out, and everybody went out without me because I was not going to miss this pilot. I was so excited to be getting something new from Mara Brock Akil. And yeah, I sat in the hotel and I watched the entire thing. I've started revisiting the entire series myself. And there are a few things that stood out to me, particularly season two, episodes like 5 through 7. It's when Mary Jane is in that weird phase and she's balancing her complex relationship with David and she's managing the pressures from work and trying to get them to see her vision at SNC, and she's undergoing these fertility treatments and wanting to get pregnant by David despite the fact that David already has another woman pregnant, but that's another conversation for another day because girl, what were we doing? And then she's also navigating like all this emotional chaos in her personal life, the dismantling of a lot of the friendships and relationships that crumbled when the whole situation with David blew up in her face about him saving his sperm. But we won't even talk about that because that again was also crazy. Like, girl, what are we doing? But it's also an example of, just wanting life to be a certain way, wanting to be aligned with certain things, and it's just not balancing out. It's not working for you. A lot of Mary Jane's life was just her constantly being surrounded by everything that she had achieved. She had a beautiful home. She drove a Porsche. She had the success. She had all of the shoes and all of the handbags. And still, she broke every chance that she got. She was literally angry at everyone about everything. And it wasn't really because something specific happened, but I think like her life and what she wanted out of life, or let me reframe that. Her life and what she thought she wanted out of life at the time all became too much for her. I think that we witnessed, and not just being Mary Jane, but so many women we have witnessed that they have everything that they think they want. And that was in Mary Jane's case. And some of our cases too. Let me be clear, like that has been me before, where I've had everything that I thought that I wanted, even though it was enjoyable at the moment, my spirit wasn't at peace. Watching that recently hit me. And it reminded me how much alignment doesn't mean anything if your capacity cannot hold it. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how alignment isn't just about what feels good or feels right, whether it's temporary or long term. It's about what you're actually resourced enough to sustain, receive, and grow into. We talk a lot and hear a lot about living in alignment, but rarely do we ever talk about the invisible work that has to happen and exist within us first. And that is expanding our emotional, energetic, and nervous system capacity. I'm a testament to this. I can speak to this because I've lived through this as a live experience. And sometimes the clarity that we are searching for does not arrive and will not arrive until we have made space for that clarity to land. If you are tuned in right now, I am really glad that this conversation found you. I want you to get a drink, your favorite cocktail, a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and really indulge because this is a bigger conversation. And so much of us have been taught to chase alignment as if it's a destination. I need to be in alignment. Alignment, it's what a time to be aligned, all those things. But what if the real block isn't a lack of clarity? What if the block is that your system isn't ready to hold what clarity would require from you? Sometimes we think that we're stuck. Life is not responding to us. God is not listening to us. God is not responding to us. The universe, whatever it is that you believe in, we sit in this space and we believe that we are stuck. We're stretched thin, but we're not realizing that we're not behind. We are becoming. And becoming requires capacity, the capacity to trust yourself, the capacity to sit with the uncertainty on this journey of trusting, learning to trust yourself, the capacity to experience joy and hold on to it, the capacity to savor the beautiful moments in life, the capacity to experience and hold on to grief and then release it, the capacity to hold and embrace responsibility and expansion all at the same time while you're experiencing joy and holding on to that, while you're experiencing grief and healing through that, and carrying it all at once and not doubting the process a single moment. You're just trusting and you're flowing and you're feeling it and you're experiencing it and you're going through it. I think that's the one part of the process that we are not prepared for and honestly, truly never really were. The part where you outgrow the version of yourself who could only survive, and then you start becoming the version of yourself who actually wants to thrive and what it requires of you to be in that space. It is so much work. You have to constantly remind yourself of who you no longer are and who you are becoming. And your mindset has to fit that shift or you regress back in your healing. That process is never pretty. It is not something that is always peaceful. It's a very necessary process, but it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to go through. It honestly could be that some of us are just struggling to name the barrier. That barrier is your nervous system. Again, this is something that I know all too well. It's a lived experience, so I could talk about it. I could share it. If you have experienced a lot of instability, a lot of trauma, a lot of emotional neglect, and constant chaos, your body has learned to anticipate threats. If your instability has looked like financial instability, financial defeats, whenever you spend money, whenever you come in contact with money, your body sees that as a threat. If you have ever experienced relationship trauma, friendship trauma, trauma within your family, whenever it comes up again or something triggers it and mirrors that, your body senses a threat. Your body goes into protection mode, a safe mode. Whenever you feel a sense of emotional neglect, you instantly retract because, again, your body, your mind, your spirit is anticipating a threat. Your body and your nervous system is responding to a threat. A lot of us, our bodies have become wired to expect the worst. Our expectations are very what do you say? The bar is on the ground. The bar is in hell. Those are our, our level of expectations because of what we've experienced and because we have trained our trauma, rather, or our experience have trained our bodies to anticipate the worst, to anticipate a threat. And within all of this, you become a master of bracing. You're a master at that now, the master of doing, the master of enduring. So even when life starts to let up just a little bit, you don't feel it. You don't recognize it. You can't feel it. You can't recognize it. When God has given you on a silver platter a moment of peace and calm and reflection and very clear stability, you're worried on if it will crumble. When life starts to offer you a sense of peace, love, and abundance, you don't trust it. You're in fight or flight mode. And it's not because you're ungrateful. It's literally because your nervous system doesn't recognize safety as something that is familiar. It's in foreign territory and it's going to respond as such. This is exactly how I learned what capacity building really is. It's really all just nervous system work. And I'm not saying this is something that I've mastered. It's something that I'm still actively working on because it's been over 30 years. And that just doesn't heal overnight. That takes time. There's going to still be things that come up, and I'm still actively growing and healing through this process. But it's really about unlearning the belief that everything that you want will cost you. It's retraining your mind and your body to understand that you don't have to earn or overperform to feel worthy. This is why alignment is something that cannot be forced, because you will force yourself into something that you are not ready to accept and embrace. It is not just a mindset shift, it is a full body process. Again, it is not just a mindset shift, it is a full body process. So, what I would love to do is I would love to share some practices that have helped me over the years. And I really hope that what I share will help you begin expanding your capacity physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, and spiritually. The first practice is building nervous system awareness. You have to start noticing your patterns in order to heal them. When do you feel most activated or dysregulated? What people or environments or tasks trigger your anxiety or force you into a space where you automatically shut down? Your body in these states is providing you with information, and it's giving you information every single day. When your stomach tightens before you log into your laptop or before you get on a Zoom call with a specific person, when you cannot sleep after a conversation or a long day of doing something repetitive, when your chest gets heavy from scrolling through your phone or scrolling through social media, pay attention to those things. Building awareness is the first step. And I'll even go as far as saying building awareness is the first step, but learning not to judge that sense of awareness, learning not to judge yourself in the process, just taking notice and being aware. What would help me feel even 5% safer in this moment right now? Is what you have to start asking yourself when you are aware of the moments when you are not regulated and how to handle this. Because the things that could help you feel a little bit more safer could look like breath work. It could be movement, shutting down whatever it is that you were doing in that moment that forced you to feel that way. It could be silence, but you have to first trust yourself enough to know and be aware. The second thing is choosing safety over strategy. This is something I've had to remind myself constantly because obviously I'm a strategist. This is what I do. But sometimes you have to take the work component out of it and you just have to focus on what you need to feel like the most regulated and intentional version of yourself. There are a lot of us who over strategize our lives because we are terrified of what it looks like and feels like for us to slow down and be a little bit more present. We make plans because rest feels unsafe. We overwork ourselves because resting feels unsafe. We chase clarity and alignment, because stillness for us feels foreign. If I cannot relax in this moment, I am not being productive. Sometimes, and I won't say all the time, but sometimes that mindset and that take on life is rooted in a child that was forced to be high performing, a child that had very high expectations forced onto them, a child that can never do no wrong. And by healing that, you understand that your next season, regardless of what it looks like or what it is, none of that can be rushed. When your nervous system is dysregulated, even the most aligned opportunity will feel like a threat to you. You question everything. You have to call to get something validated. Is this right? Does this feel good? This week, starting this week, after you turn this video off, after you fully watched it, I want you to try something different. And I want you to try choosing restoration over optimization. Those are keywords that I learned in the workplace, by the way. Let yourself rest and nap without guilt. Let yourself watch Netflix without feeling like you have to work and be busy and do something. Let yourself say no without over explaining or overcompensating. Let yourself be unproductive without spiraling. Just let yourself be. Savor just being. Because the reality is, the most strategic thing you can do is give yourself the space to rest. The third and last thing is expanding and doing so with intention. There's nothing in this process that requires you to be aggressive with your approach. You do not need to leap. You just need to be flexible. You need to stretch. You need to ask yourself, where am I forcing what I am not yet ready to hold? Where am I saying yes out of fear and not faith? What boundaries would protect my peace right now? You know how many times I've had to remind myself over the last couple weeks, don't say yes to whatever. Saying yes to things just because it's in your face and out of fear of scarcity or lack. Every time you say no to what drains you, you make space for the things that nourish you. That's what capacity looks like. That's what alignment is. Something that I've always been told is just you're too emotional. And I think throughout this process, that may be something that you hear from a lot of people. But I want to remind you that you are not too emotional. You are not too sensitive. You are not too much. You are just someone who is expanding and learning to balance and learning to self-regulate. And expansion can feel incredibly overwhelming and disorienting at first. But let this be your reminder that you do not have to rush. You do not have to have it all figured out. You are allowed to take up space. You are also allowed to pause and not take up any space at all. You are allowed to protect your peace, even if no one claps for you throughout that process. And the more space you create within yourself, the more clearly the next step will become, the more it will reveal itself. And it isn't because you worked harder or hustled harder. It's literally because you became more available to receive. And that's it. That's our episode today, guys. If today's episode met you where you are, I hope that you know and trust this. You are not alone. You are not behind. You are just in the in between. You are in between the space of where your old life no longer fits and your new life and reality just has not landed yet. This is a space that is very intentional, and you should honor it. Honor it because it's beautiful, and you never want to look back on a moment and regret that you did not savor what God has given you. You did not take the moment to slow down and appreciate the things and the people and the experiences that you were gifted, because God gave you a moment to rest and be at peace before your next phase in life. If this episode resonated with you and inspired you, I absolutely encourage you to share it with someone who is also on their journey of the unseen work, healing and expanding, and in their process of becoming. You can follow and subscribe to the Living Dvnly podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And please join in on the conversation on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter for my old heads at Living Dvnly. And until next time, stay rooted in your truth and refined by your own design. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next episode.